anyone who lives in Israel knows, or for that matter, anyone who lives in West Texas, or I would suggest to you in the great state of Nevada, in those semi-arid parts of the globe, water is an issue that will define our times. I grew up with a very special affinity for the importance of water. I grew up on a dryland cotton farm. And it was in a small community called Paint Creek. Well, actually you can find it on the map now, but only because a young boy who grew up there ended up being the governor of Texas. It's the only reason it is on the map. In Texas, much like Israel, we embrace the role that research will play in determining our quality of life in the future and in ensuring our common economic strength for decades to come. And to that end, we've recently passed a measure, and with voter approval in just a few weeks, we'll provide $2 billion to assist with funding water projects across our state for the next 50 years. These projects will cover a lot of territory, both geographically and technologically, because they have to. We all have, or I should say we all know that fresh water is a limited resource, and that conservation, new technology will be key to keeping that water flowing. In Texas, we currently have more than 40 installations. I know this is going to sound rather small for you Israelis, but we follow you and admire you greatly. We have 40 installations that desalinate brackish groundwater, with much of that water being used to supply drinking water to communities across Texas. And when I think about the reusable water in this country, I think 85% of the water is reused in this country. The next closest is Spain with 25%. The United States, I think, is 1%. I mean, we so can look to Israel and learn. And I think that is another reason that it's so important that we are here in this country that is leading the way, if you will. We realize from a Texas standpoint that what we're involved with is only a beginning. That we are very ready, though, to embrace the technology, to embrace the new approaches and ideas that will come out of this conference, that are in the fertile mind of some young technology student at one of the institutions. And I was talking about this. The formula for allowing freedom is really pretty simple. You keep your taxes low. You have a regulatory climate that is fair and predictable. You have a legal system that doesn't allow for oversuing. And you continue to fund accountable public schools so that you have that skilled workforce. And then you try to get out of the way and let the private sector do what the private sector does best, which is create the wealth that in turn creates the jobs. As countries look, whether it's Italy that our previous speaker is from, or whether it is the United Kingdom, Germany, countries that have challenges in front of them, and they look to Israel, and they see a growing economy. They say a country that has extraordinary potential, a country that has taken and grown out of a desert an amazingly powerful economy. In ways, it looks a lot like Texas. But the point is the values and the can-do spirit that we find in this country, and we find in those successful states that are creating wealth and opportunity for their citizens in the United States. There is a common thread there. And that common thread is that through hard work and innovation and trust in their citizens that they will address the most extensive challenges that they have in front of them. And it's conferences like this that I think are incredibly worthwhile as we come together. People dedicated to a cause, in this case the cause of making water reliable, sustainable, available to our citizens, in search of making this globe a more hospitable place, a more free place. And that is what the essence of water is really about. God bless you, and thank you all for listening.